Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Today we are going to finally be doing another installment of the gun and ammo collection series. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, but it's long overdue and here it finally is. There has been some additions as well as some subtractions since the last one. And speaking of the last one, if you haven't seen the last video, go check it out. It covers the secret gun room that I built more in depth. And if you like this and want to see more content, please be sure to subscribe. Go ahead and drop me a comment down below, also letting me know what you think of the collection and what kind of videos you want to see in the future. That being said, thank you all so much for all the support. We're sitting at almost 11,000 subscribers, which is insane. I really appreciate it. Thank you again so much. Kicking things off with the Glocks. This is a Glock 43 chambered in 9mm. It's rocking a laser and night sight combo. For the longest time, this was the gold standard in small concealed carry guns, but by today's standards, it's been kind of outclassed. But it's still a great concealed carry option. It's just not my first choice anymore. Kind of a similar story here with the Glock 26, also Gen 4. This one is Gucci'd out kind of to a ridiculous level. It was a really fun project, but similar to the 43, it's just kind of outclassed and a relic of its day and age. By today's standards, it's probably not my first choice for concealed carry, but it's still a great gun, and I still enjoy having it in the collection. Next up is the workhorse do-it-all Glock 19. This one's a Gen 4.
Another one.
This one's rocking a TLR4 laser light combo and is Gucci'd out, but to a way less severe case than the 26. This one's rocking a bunch of silver aftermarket parts. And this one's actually more of one of my go-tos. I want to find a milled slide, as I've become kind of a fan of red dots on pistols, so that one will probably be getting one of those in the future. Next up is a Glock 19X. This was Glock's submission for the military firearm to replace the Beretta M9, but lost out to the P320. I still think it's a sweet design. I just really wish it would have been the Glock 17 slide with the 19 frame, so it would have been like a Glock 19 long slide. Next up is the classic Glock 17. This one's also a Gen 4. This one was in a micro-Roni chassis system pretty much until the brace ban, so this is like one of the first times I've actually had it just laying out as a handgun. But hopefully it can go back to the Roni eventually, as it looks like that brace ban might be on its last leg. Maybe some more news or video on that soon. Lastly, for the Glocks, we have the Glock 42. This one is almost identical to the 43.
And another one.
The only difference being that this one is in 380 instead of 9mm. This one came out first, and everybody wondered why this one wasn't in 9mm, and then they answered all of our questions with the 43. So a lot of us bought this not knowing that the 9mm option would be closely behind it. Next up is probably the #1 gun in my collection that gets carried. This is the SIG P365. This one has a green laser as well as a Romeo red dot and night sights. This is my absolute favorite gun in the entire collection to conceal carry, and it shoots fantastic. 15 round capacity in that, and it's even smaller than the Glock 19. It's insane. Next is more of an obscure option here. This is a Beretta BP9cc. I got this one after the Glock 42 before the 43 came out, and it's another small single stack 9mm. Small single stack 9mm were kind of like the bee's knees once upon a time, and this was just another option in that category, and it was actually a really nice option at the time. A lot of people didn't really know about it. Moving on to a Smith & Wesson SD9VE. This is a blatant Glock ripoff by Smith & Wesson, and I picked it up for like next to nothing on sale around the holidays a few years back, and for the price it was just hard to pass on it because it was a really good deal. Next, we have a Smith & Wesson Shield 45. At the time, I did not have a 45, and I wanted another concealed carry gun, so I went with a combination of the two and got a small single-stack compact 45. And this thing actually shoots pretty nice for how small and how light it is. Next, we have a SIG P320. This is the gun that was submitted and replaced the Beretta M9 in the contracts that happened like a couple years back now. And it's rocking a TLR4 up front, and these are just pretty badass do-it-all duty guns, similar like a Glock 19. But the modularity for those are pretty neat. We'll do the Berettas next. We'll start with the PX4 Storm in Inox. This one is the compact model. They make 3 different models. It's got a rotating barrel design, which makes for a very soft shooting experience, and I don't think these things got enough attention. Over the years, I've grown to quite like it. I think if Beretta were to redo these and relaunch them with more modern features, better stippling, and maybe MOS ready, I think they could be a hit. I'd probably buy one. Next, let's do the Beretta 92 FS in Inox. Those that don't know, Inox pretty much just means stainless steel. So a lot of us guys that like stainless stuff, we just tend to gravitate towards this stuff. And this one's just gorgeous. I never planned on buying it, but I got my hands on it at a local shop, and I ended up just leaving with it. You gun guys know how that goes. Next, we have the first full-size handgun I ever picked up. This is a Beretta 92S Italian Surplus. At the time, I was on a budget. I couldn't really afford anything, and I really liked Berettas, so this was the closest thing I could get to an actual Beretta for the price, and it's been in my collection ever since. Let's do the mouse guns next, starting with the Beretta 32 Tomcat. This is chambered in 32 ACP. It's another one in inox, obviously. And I thought it paired handsomely with the 92 FS in inox, so that's the main reason I bought it. Buyer beware, this one has been known to crack with the wrong loads of 32. I didn't really know that at the time, but it's just something to be aware of. Next, let's take a look at the Beretta 950 Jetfire.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
This one is pretty small. It's chambered in 25 ACP. Another one with a flip-up barrel, and this is just a classic mouse gun. Most of you guys that know about mouse guns have seen this one before or know of it. It's iconic. Had it in my jacket pocket at weddings. Cool little mouse gun. Moving on, we have the Kimber Ultra Carry 2 in stainless. This one has the skeleton trigger and skeleton hammer, so of course I threw the skeleton grips on to match. This thing is a nice shooter. It comes with a fiber optic on it with some blacked out rear sights. The main problem being the name Ultra Carry. This thing is way too heavy to carry, but it is a really nice 1911 nonetheless. Next up, we have a Colt 1911. This one's a Series 70 government model. I wanted something as close as I could possibly get to a World War II era style 1911 without getting an actual one and ruining the value by shooting it to smithereens, as I really did want to get one that I could enjoy. If you don't have one, this is a really good one to get if you're in the same boat. Next up, we have the Walther PPKS. This one is chambered in 380. It's the stainless model, and I threw the pro grips on it. This is the James Bond pistol, obviously, for those that don't know. The big problem with it being that the aesthetics were designed before the ergonomics, and this thing is physically painful to shoot. Every time I've shot it, I've pretty much drawn blood, and it's not a fun time. It's ironic, I'm the guy with the gun, and I'm the one being abused, which is a shame, because I would love to shoot this one more often. Next up, we have the only revolver in the collection as of right now. This is an old school Smith & Wesson Chief Special, chambered in 38 Special. I do like revolvers, and I should probably get some more, but that's something in the future here. Python's probably the next one. Next up, we have a Cobra 2-shot Derringer. This one's chambered in 9mm. I talked about how the Walther PPK is physically painful to shoot. There's something about the way that this gun is designed that every time I've ever shot it, I've cut myself. So I probably won't be shooting this one very often, if not ever again. But Derringers are pretty neat, little get-off-me guns, little backup guns. And they're just classic pieces of history, so I had to have one, even if it is a pain in the ass to shoot it. Next up, we have our California compliant assault pistol. This is a old school percussion cap black powder pistol. It shoots a 50 caliber ball. I have yet to take this thing out, but I do want to take it out one day, as I think this thing would be kind of fun to shoot. I just don't know if I'm actually allowed to shoot it at the range that I go to frequently, but it's something I will do eventually, as I would be looking forward to trying something new. And these things are just damn neat. Next, we have a Masterpiece Arms 9mm mat clone.
Oh shit, here we go again.
There's not much else to say about this one other than it's just another one of those iconic like 80s action movie gangster guns. I just think they're cool as hell. I guess the other thing I can say about this one is this faux suppressor's got like 3,000 rotations, which is kind of ridiculous. Any day now. There we are. And I think it does look pretty sweet with the faux suppressor off. Quite compact, which is pretty neat. Anyway, if you've seen my other videos, you know where I'm going after the Mac. Next up is the Intratec DC9, or classically referred to as the Tech 9. This is like the intermediate of the few that they made. The original one was like an open bolt, and then they made this one and it still wasn't compliant enough, and then they came out with the AB10 before pretty much going out of business. It's a damn shame because I really want to like this thing. It just looks freaking sweet. But that's all it's got going for it. Other than that, it's basically just a paperweight, which is a shame because I would love for this thing to actually work.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Next, we'll take a look at some World War II stuff, starting with this Sten Mark III parts kit build, semi-automatic. I had a gentleman down in Georgia build this thing for me a few years back, and it's an amazing little parts kit build. I'm a big World War II history nut, especially the firearms, and it's just amazing how bare bones this thing actually is. I mean, you know it's bare bones, but when you get it in your hands, you really understand that this thing is just the bare minimum. And it's an important and awesome little piece of history, and I'm so glad that I own it. Next in the World War II archives here, we'll save this little edition here. We'll go right on to this one. This is a Commando Mark III Thompson clone. It takes grease gun magazines, and it's pretty vintage. I actually have issues with this one as it won't chamber around anymore, so I should probably take this one to a gunsmith to get it fixed. But when I was able to shoot it, it was pretty nice. A little clunky. I would probably rather have an auto ordnance, but it's a sweet little Thompson nonetheless. Next, we're going to take a look at probably one of the crown jewels of my entire collection as of right now.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Next up, we have an M3A1 grease gun made by Valkyrie Arms. Valkyrie Arms was a pretty short-lived company that made a bunch of really cool reproduction historical firearms. And I'm kind of sad because a lot of their other guns and their lineup I probably would have bought had they still been around. And I was just really lucky to get my hands on one of these. It was something I'd been looking for pretty much as long as I'd been into guns. Very happy to have that one. Next up, we'll take a look at my M1 Grand. This is a Springfield Armory M1 Grand, and I was lucky enough to inherit this one from my grandfather, who also had a good taste in firearms. This is your classic World War II era American infantry rifle that has the sound of freedom built in. That sound never gets old. No collection's complete without a Grand. Next up, let's take a look at the GSG STG-44 chambered in the 22 LR. I wish this was chambered in just about any other cartridge, but it looks like they are starting to make some now that are chambered in other cartridges. They're just quite pricey. But as a reproduction, this thing's pretty awesome, and it is fun to go shoot box loads of 22 LR. Maybe I'll look at some of the other ones later. But for now, this one's perfect for the collection. Next up, let's take a look at the German Sports Guns MP40 pistol. This is a reproduction of the German MP40 from World War II. And just like the STG, it's really cool to be able to own these rare historical firearms, even as reproductions that function. The big problem with this one being that it's a pistol, and in order to throw a stock on it, you're going to have to SVR it. But it's something I still might do in the future, as I think a stock on this one would be pretty awesome. Next up, we're going to take a look at the ugly duckling of the collection. This is a Hi-Point 9mm carbine.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
I much prefer Hi-Point's carbines to their handguns, and this used to be a really good 9mm carbine, but the market's kind of saturated with them now. So it's not really one of the first options, unless you're completely going on a budget mindset. Moving on, we have a Palmetto State Armory 10.5-inch AR pistol build here. It's rocking a Romeo red dot as well as a Magpul flip-up rear sight. This one did have the SB3 brace on it prior to the ban.
Emotional damage!
I'm really hoping this pistol brace ban stuff comes to an end here pretty soon, because it looks like some really good news coming out of the 5th Circuit, but we'll see. Next, let's take a look at this Spikes Tactical AR-15 build. The objective of this build was to get as close as I could possibly get to an M16A1 from like the early Vietnam War era. All in all, I think this build came out absolutely perfect. This thing is so accurate, and it looks as close as I could possibly get, and I'm pretty damn happy with how it came out. I do also have a bayonet for it, as you can see on the bottom right there. Next up, let's take a look at the GSG 522. This is a copy of the MP5 chambered in 22 made by German Sports Guns, and this is just a fun little plinker. I have this one geared up to look like a MP5 SD, but yeah, just a cool little plinker. Moving on, we have the Kel-Tec Sub 2000. This is a 9mm pistol caliber carbine that has the cool gimmick that it folds in half. Not many guns really fold in half, and when this one first came out, it kind of took the industry by storm. I know Ruger has come out with one recently that does something similar, but this is the OG. I got the Glock 19 model just for the more versatility with the magazines, and I did go with FDE because my collection does not have many things in FDE. Next up, we have a Palmetto State Armory AKP GF3. This is a 7.62 by 39 10.5-inch AK pistol that Palmetto makes. It used to have the triangle side folding brace on it, obviously prior to the pistol brace ban. It's also rocking an EOTech 512 hollow sight up top. And all in all, this is a fantastic little AK pistol, and I actually prefer it to the Dracos. Next, we have a Romanian SAR-1. This one probably looks a lot different since the last time you guys have seen it, as it's been pretty much fully decked out since the last time I did one of these videos. It's rocking blacked out Magpul furniture, a Zukov stock, forward grip, pressure pad LED flashlight. It's rocking a Romeo and Juliet magnifier red dot combo. This is pretty much my go-to rifle at this point, and the only thing it's missing is a binary trigger, which I will probably do to it eventually. Next up is my absolute favorite gun in the entire collection. This is a PTR 9C MP5 pistol.
Look how they massacred my boy.
It was running a SB Tactical telescoping brace, and it's currently pimped out with a Hollow Sun red dot, but since the last time I've seen you guys, I've done something special to it.
Damn, girl, what you saying? What you saying, huh? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Jeez.
This boy's been outfitted with a binary trigger made by Franklin Armory, and will probably be my first SBR candidate, as I really want to throw a stock on this one.
Just do it!
We'll take a look at the shotguns next, starting with a Mossberg 500. This one has a weird stock set that you can actually fold over the top, and it's kind of like a handle. It's a little strange. I do like the heat shield shroud, and this is pretty much just an all-purpose 12-gauge shotgun. Gotta love pump actions. Next, let's take a look at the double-barrel coach gun made by Stoeger. It's a 12-gauge shotgun side-by-side. It reminds me of the super shotgun from Doom. I grew up playing Doom. Reminds me of the boomstick from Evil Dead. I watched those movies growing up.
See this? This is my boomstick!
So of course I just had to have one of these. Next up is one I'm not super familiar with. My wife inherited this one from her grandfather. This is a Springfield Model 67 VR Series B 12-gauge pump-action shotgun. Yeah, I don't know that much about this one, but it's in the collection for that reason. Next, we have another inherited gun here. This is from my grandfather. This is a 12-gauge single shot made by Hibbard. Not sure on the age of it, but it does seem like it's pretty old. Next, we have another inherited gun, again from my grandfather. This is a Savage 22, model 87A. This is just an old school 22, tube fed. Still a lot of fun. Next up is another inherited one. This one is another one my wife inherited from her grandfather. This is an 1890 Italian Vetterli rifle. I know very little about this one. I don't think this one functions, but it's in the collection again for that reason. Lastly, for the gun collection here, I bought this after recording most of this video, so I'm just going to kind of insert it in about right here. I picked up a Rossi R92. It's a nickel finish with redwood. It's actually pretty gorgeous. It's in 357 and 38 special. I've always wanted a lever gun, and I finally got around to pulling the trigger on one. And here's some video of it at the range after I got it. I was actually pretty happy with it. Let's move on to the ammo can ASMR and finish off this video with the ammo. This is a can of 380. This is a can of various little cleaning supplies and little doodads that don't fit anywhere else. This is some 45 ball ammo and hollow points. Here's a whole can of 45 Full Metal Jacket. This is some 9mm ball ammo. More 9mm ball ammo, mostly 124 grain. This is where my less stock calibers are. 38 special, 25 ACP, 32 ACP. 22 LR. .223 Full Metal Jackets. More .223 Full Metal Jacket. .762 by 39 ball ammo. A few boxes of 762 by 54R. Buckshot. Slugs and birdshot, as well as a couple of random miscellaneous shotgun shells that I haven't put anywhere else. A can full of 30 carbine stuff, as well as some M1 carbine stuff for the M1 carbine that I had once upon a time. A full can full of 30-06, mostly loaded into M1 Grand bandolier clips. And that about does it for the ammo. Go ahead and stick around for a panoramic shot of all the magazine storage. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.